Have you ever looked around and felt the silence so heavy that it pressed against your heart, reminding you that you stand alone in a world where friendships are celebrated, connections are flaunted, and togetherness is glorified? Have you ever wondered what it means to be a woman with no friends? Not because you are unworthy, not because you are unloved, but because life, in its strange and powerful ways, set you apart for something different, something deeper, something greater. If that silence has ever been your companion, I want you to know right now, it does not mean you are weak. It means you are strong in ways most will never understand. People fear loneliness because they confuse it with emptiness. They believe that having no circle, no group, no constant company must mean your life lacks value. But let me tell you this, sometimes the absence of friends is not the absence of worth. It is the presence of destiny. Sometimes God removes the crowd so he can teach you how to stand tall without applause, how to grow without validation, how to discover who you truly are when no one is clapping, no one is texting, no one is calling. A woman with no friends is not broken. She is a force that life is shaping in silence. Yes, it hurts. It hurts to scroll through pictures of groups laughing together, to see circles of women who appear inseparable, to hear the laughter echoing from corners where you were never invited. It hurts when your phone doesn't light up with, "Where are you?" or "Let's hang out." But here's the truth. That pain is not your prison. It is your training ground. A woman with no friends learns how to sit with herself without fear. She learns how to be her own safe space, her own companion, her own anchor. She learns a lesson most people never dare to face, that your value is not determined by how many people stand beside you, but by how unshakably you can stand when you stand alone. The world will try to convince you that being friendless makes you less than. But what if it makes you more? What if it means you are meant to see life differently, to walk a path that cannot be crowded, to hear whispers from God that can only be caught in stillness? You see, the world is loud, but destiny is quiet. And sometimes when you are surrounded by too many voices, you miss the one voice that matters, the voice within, the voice of God, the voice that says, "Daughter, you don't need a circle to shine. You were born to shine by yourself." Think about it. How many women waste years pleasing people who never truly cared, giving their energy to those who gossip the second they leave the room, bending their backs to fit into tables where they were never meant to sit? A woman with no friends avoids that trap. Her isolation becomes her filter. The silence strips away the fakes, the users, the betrayers. It may feel lonely, but it is pure. It is real. It is honest. And here's what they don't tell you. There is a sacred strength in being misunderstood, overlooked, or even rejected. Because while others chase belonging, you are learning how to belong to yourself. While others are terrified of being alone, you are being forged in solitude, becoming a woman who doesn't crumble when people walk away, who doesn't shatter when loyalty proves to be an illusion. Do you know how dangerous you become when you stop needing constant companionship to validate your existence? Do you know how powerful you become when you can sit at a table with no one across from you and still feel complete? That is the power of a woman with no friends. She is unshakable because her strength is not borrowed from others. It is rooted in herself and in God. I want you to stop seeing yourself as left out and start seeing yourself as set apart. Stop seeing solitude as punishment and start seeing it as preparation. The world may not understand your silence, but you don't need them to. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to fulfill a purpose that may demand your separation. And when the time is right, the right people will come. People who don't just want your company, but honor your presence. People who don't just laugh with you, but lift you. Until then, your aloneness is not a curse. It is your classroom. Have you noticed how the world glorifies being surrounded by people? How society celebrates circles, cliques, and constant companionship, as though having friends is the only proof that you are lovable, valuable, or complete. But what they don't tell you is this: some of the strongest women, some of the most resilient warriors, some of the most unshakable souls were first women who walked through seasons with no friends. It wasn't because they were unworthy. It was because they were chosen to learn lessons that only solitude can teach. A woman with no friends learns how to rely on her inner compass instead of the voices of others. She doesn't have the luxury of always being validated, of being constantly reassured. And because of that, she grows into someone who doesn't bend at every opinion, who doesn't crumble at every judgment. She becomes someone who knows who she is because she had to define herself without the noise of others telling her who to be. Do you know how rare that is in this world? Do you know how precious that kind of clarity is? There are women who spend their whole lives trying to keep up with their friends' expectations, twisting themselves into shapes that do not belong to them, wearing masks that suffocate their true identity, all because they fear being left alone. But a woman with no friends doesn't play that game. She has already tasted loneliness. She has already faced silence. She has already sat with the ache of being by herself, and she survived. And because she survived, she cannot be manipulated by the fear of being abandoned. She cannot be controlled by the threat of rejection. She cannot be silenced by the loss of approval. Her strength is forged in the fire of solitude, and that strength makes her unstoppable. But let me go deeper with you. Loneliness, though painful, is also a mirror. When you have no one else around, you see yourself more clearly. You see your flaws, yes, but you also see your power. You see the parts of yourself that you've been hiding, the dreams you've buried, the voice you've muted. Solitude strips away distraction so you can hear your own heartbeat again. That is why so many women fear being alone, because facing yourself is not easy. But the woman with no friends doesn't run from it. She faces the mirror. She faces her truth. And in that truth, she finds freedom. And hear me on this, there is nothing shameful about walking alone. Some of the greatest journeys in life must be taken, and without a crowd. You cannot climb a mountain with a stadium of people around you. You cannot discover the depth of your spirit when you are drowning in endless chatter. The woman with no friends is like the mountain climber. Her path is narrow, steep, and often silent, but at the top, the view is hers alone. She sees what others cannot see. She breathes air that others cannot breathe. And she stands in a strength that others cannot fathom. This is why you must never confuse solitude with weakness. The woman with no friends is not fragile, she is refined. She is not invisible, she is invincible. And when the world finally notices her, they will not see someone desperate for belonging. They will see someone who commands respect simply by existing. Someone who carries herself with quiet dignity, someone who does not beg for acceptance because she already carries acceptance within her. But let me warn you, when you are a woman with no friends, people will misunderstand you. They will whisper, she must be difficult. They will assume she must be cold. They will think she must not be likable. And that is because they cannot comprehend a woman who does not need the constant affirmation of others. They cannot understand a woman who has built her worth on something higher something stronger, something unshakable. They cannot comprehend a woman whose validation comes from God, not from the fickle tides of popularity. And that misunderstanding, don't fear it, embrace it, because to be misunderstood often means you are living above the level of ordinary. It means you are operating at a frequency others cannot yet tune into. It means your strength, your clarity, your independence is so rare that it unsettles those who have never known how to stand without a crowd. So if you are walking alone right now, if you are that woman with no friends, don't you dare shrink yourself. Don't you dare believe the lie that you are less. You are more focused, more resilient, more attuned to your spirit, more aligned with your destiny, more in tune with God's voice. And when you walk into rooms, even if no one is walking in with you, you carry a presence that cannot be denied because your strength was not built on being surrounded. It was built on standing alone. And here is something I need you to let sink deep into your soul. Being a woman with no friends doesn't mean you will always walk alone. It means that right now, in this season, you are being shaped, pruned, prepared. When the time is right, the right people will come. Not the kind who drain you, not the kind who gossip about you, not the kind who abandon you when it gets hard, but the kind who see your worth, who honor your presence, who match your strength. But until then, your solitude is not a waiting room. It is your empowerment. Because if you can learn to thrive without friends, if you can learn to shine without applause, if you can learn to love yourself without constant affirmation, then nothing and no one can ever take your power away again. You will enter relationships not from desperation, but from strength. You will walk into friendships not needing to be completed, but already whole. You will attract not what your loneliness craves, but what your spirit deserves. A woman with no friends is not a tragedy. She is a testimony. She is proof that silence can build strength, that solitude can spark destiny, that walking alone can lead to the most powerful kind of presence, the kind that cannot be shaken, cannot be silenced, and cannot be overlooked. Do you realize what it truly means to be a woman with no friends? It means you are walking through a world that constantly tells you your worth depends on who surrounds you, yet you dare to prove that your worth stands on its own. It means you are living in a society that glorifies the crowd, yet you stand as living proof that one's soul aligned with God can be stronger than an army. It means you are bearing the weight of solitude not as a punishment, but as a crown, because not every woman is chosen to walk this road, but those who are chosen are marked for greatness. The truth is, the silence you carry is not empty. It is holy ground. It is the place where God whispers to you what he cannot say when others are always in your ear. You may feel the sting of loneliness, but within that sting is a strange kind of liberation. Because when no one is around to tell you who you should be, you finally have the freedom to discover who you truly are. You learn what makes your soul come alive, what values you will never compromise, what vision burns in your heart, even when no one else believes in it. Most women never get that chance. They are too entangled in the expectations of their so-called friends. They say yes when they mean no. They laugh at jokes that pierce their spirit. They go where they do not want to go, do what they do not want to do just to avoid being left out. And little by little, they lose themselves. But you, the woman with no friends, you have been spared that slow death. You do not dilute yourself to belong. You do not shrink yourself to be accepted. You do not betray your own soul for the illusion of companionship. And that makes you dangerous in the most beautiful way. Because when you no longer fear being alone, No one can control you. When you no longer crave constant company, no one can manipulate you. When you no longer beg for a seat at the table, you realize you can build your own table. And when you build it, it will not be cluttered with gossip, betrayal, or shallow connections. It will be filled with peace, with purpose, with the kind of presence that honors who you are. I want you to hear me clearly. Solitude is not shame. It is strength. It is not rejection. It is redirection. It is not proof that you are unlovable. It is proof that your love is too valuable to be wasted. And though you may not see it now, this season of walking without friends is sharpening you, toughening you, cleansing you. It is teaching you to befriend yourself first, because if you cannot sit with yourself in peace, you will never sit in peace with anyone else. And isn't that the greatest gift? To be so comfortable in your own skin that you don't need anyone to complete you. To be so at peace in your own soul that you are not restless without constant company. That is the kind of power that terrifies people, because it cannot be bought, it cannot be borrowed, it cannot be taken away. But let me speak truth into your heart. People will notice. They may not say it aloud, but they will feel it. When you walk into a room as a woman who has learned to stand alone, your energy shifts the atmosphere. You carry a presence that demands respect, not because you shouted for it, not because you begged for it, but because solitude has clothed you in quiet authority. You have fought battles in silence that others could not survive, and now you wear the strength of those victories in your very being. This is why you must not despise your solitude. It is building a woman who cannot be broken. It is shaping a heart that does not beg for scraps of attention. It is molding a spirit that does not settle for counterfeit friendships. It is preparing you to walk into relationships not with desperation, but with discernment. Because when you finally encounter people worthy of your time, you will recognize them not by how loud they laugh with you, but by how deeply they honor you. And until then, do not let loneliness deceive you. Loneliness whispers that you are forgotten, but the truth is you are being refined. Loneliness tells you that you are unwanted, but the truth is you are being protected from the wrong ones. Loneliness makes you ache for company, but solitude heals you enough to realize not all company is good for your soul. A woman with no friends is not a woman with no life. She is a woman with a rare life, a life stripped of noise so she can hear the call of destiny. Let me tell you something with absolute boldness. There is a difference between being alone and being abandoned. Too many women confuse the two. Abandonment is when people walk away without reason, when betrayal leaves you bleeding, when rejection pierces your heart. But aloneness, that is not abandonment. Aloneness is positioning. It is the deliberate space life creates around you so you can rise higher, think deeper, and hear clearer. It is not a punishment, it is a platform. It is not emptiness, it is elevation. And a woman with no friends must never mistake her divine positioning for rejection. You see, the world is full of noise. Everyone is trying to be louder than the next, to grab attention, to prove their belonging. But the woman with no friends carries a different kind of power. Her silence is louder than their noise. Her stillness is stronger than their chaos. Her walk alone speaks more truth than their crowded circles ever could. Because she doesn't need to announce who she is. Her life itself declares it. I need you to feel this in your spirit. Solitude is not a crack in your story. It is the foundation of your story. You are not being punished for not having friends. You are being entrusted with strength most people will never taste. Think about it. When you sit in a room alone with no one's laughter to distract you, with no one's presence to fill the silence, what do you hear? You hear your own heartbeat, you hear your own dreams, you hear the whispers of God reminding you that you were never truly alone, not for a single moment. And when you realize that you stop begging for people to fill a void that only truth can fill, so many women are terrified of solitude because they think it means no one cares. But the truth is, solitude is the great revealer. It shows you who you are without the constant mirror of others. It teaches you to walk without leaning, to breathe without clinging, to rise without depending. And when you finally learn that strength, you become unshakable. No betrayal can break you. No rejection can crush you. No departure can silence you, because you already walked through the fire of aloneness and discovered it did not consume you. It refined you. And listen carefully. When people see a woman who stands alone, they often misunderstand her. They may whisper that she is arrogant or assume she is unlikable or think she is cold. But their misunderstanding is their limitation, not yours. Because they cannot imagine a woman who does not beg for approval. They cannot comprehend a woman who doesn't crumble without constant companionship. They cannot handle the truth that some women are powerful enough to thrive without applause. That truth unsettles them. But you must not dim yourself just because they don't understand your light. A woman with no friends is not invisible. She is undeniable. She is not fragile. She is forged. And while others may draw strength from crowds, her strength comes from within, from God, from the deep wells of resilience that loneliness dug into her soul. She is the kind of woman who can walk into a room full of strangers and not shrink because she has already mastered the art of walking with herself. She is the kind of woman who can face rejection and not crumble because she has already endured the silence of solitude and survived. Think of it this way: diamonds are not formed in crowds. They are formed in pressure, in darkness, in hidden places where no one claps, no one praises, no one sees. A woman with no friends is a diamond in the making. She may be unseen for a while, but when she emerges, her brilliance will blind the world. So stop looking at your life through the lens of what is missing, and start looking at it through the lens of what is being built. Stop asking why no one has stayed, and start asking what strength is growing inside you because of their absence. Stop crying over empty chairs, and start thanking God for the space that allows you to breathe, to grow, to discover. Because the very thing you think disqualifies you is the thing that qualifies you. The very silence you think is breaking you is the silence that is building you. Let me give you this truth. When the right people finally come, they will not come because you begged for their presence. They will come because your strength, your peace, your authenticity will draw them like a flame draws moths. But this time they will not come to drain you. They will come to match you. They will not come to fill your void. They will come because they respect the wholeness you already carry. That is the gift of walking alone. You learn to wait for quality, not quantity. And here is the revelation that so many overlook. A woman with no friends is often a woman who carries a mantle too heavy for casual connections. Not everyone has the capacity to walk beside her. Not everyone has the purity to handle her truth. Not everyone has the loyalty to hold her heart. And so life clears the path around her, not because she is unworthy, but because her destiny is too weighty to be cluttered with the shallow, the fickle, the temporary. You may not see it now, but your solitude is proof of your separation, and separation is always the prelude to elevation. Look at every story of greatness. before the rise, there was isolation. Before the influence, there was loneliness. Before the impact, there was the season of silence. And it is in that silence where you are tested, where you are stretched, where you are forged into someone who can carry what others cannot. So do not curse the quiet around you. Do not resent the empty spaces in your life. Do not despise the nights when you sit in silence with only your thoughts and your faith to keep you company. Those are the nights when roots grow deep. Those are the nights when your soul learns resilience. Those are the nights when your heart learns to hold itself without needing the hands of others. And those roots, that resilience, that self-holding strength, those are what will sustain you when storms come. Because storms will come. People will disappoint you. Circles will betray you. Smiles will fade. But if you have learned to stand in solitude, you will not fall when others walk away. You will not collapse when loyalty proves false. You will not shatter when the people you thought would always be there suddenly vanish. You will not be destroyed because you have already mastered the art of surviving without them. And that is why the woman with no friends is so powerful. She cannot be threatened. She cannot be bribed with belonging. She cannot be broken by rejection. She cannot be enslaved by approval. She has already tasted solitude and found that it did not kill her. It crowned her. She has already walked through silence and discovered it was not emptiness. It was empowerment. She has already faced loneliness and realized it was not the end. It was the beginning of her truest self. So hear me with your whole heart. Being a woman with no friends is not your shame. It is your strength. It is not a season of loss. It is a season of gain. It is not the absence of love. It is the presence of destiny. You are not invisible. You are invincible. You are not forgotten. You are set apart. You are not lacking. You are overflowing with a power that only solitude can give. And one day, when you look back, you will not see this as the season where you were deprived. You will see it as the season where you were delivered from fake smiles, from shallow loyalty, from friendships that would have drained you dry. You will see that what felt like isolation was actually protection. That what felt like emptiness was actually preparation. That what felt like rejection was actually redirection. So stand tall even if you stand alone. Walk boldly even if no one walks beside you. Hold your head high even if no one lifts it for you, because you are not just surviving your solitude, you are owning it, transforming it, turning it into the very source of your unshakable strength. The world may not understand a woman with no friends, but they will never be able to ignore her, because when she finally steps forward, when she finally unleashes the strength her solitude has built, when she finally shows the world who she has become, she will be unstoppable. And all the silence, all the waiting, all the tears, all the lonely nights will prove they were never wasted. They were building a woman who cannot be broken, a woman who cannot be silenced, a woman who will shine so brightly that even those who once overlooked her will have no choice but to see. Because a woman with no friends is not a woman who is lacking. She is a woman who has discovered the most powerful truth of all, that she was never alone, not for a single moment. She carried within her the presence, the strength, the love, and the purpose of God. And that truth is enough to turn solitude into strength, loneliness into power, and silence into a roar the world will never forget. And so, if you find yourself walking through life as a woman with no friends, I need you to understand this with every fiber of your being. You are not broken. You are being built. You are not forgotten. You are being set apart. You are not unloved. You are being preserved for something far greater than shallow companionship. What others see as emptiness is actually your preparation ground. What they call loneliness, heaven calls refinement. What they call weakness, God calls strength. Lift your head, straighten your shoulders, and embrace this journey. For when you can stand in silence and still feel whole, when you can walk in solitude and still feel powerful, when you can sit in emptiness and still feel full, that is when you know you have become unshakable, and the world cannot break a woman who has already learned how to stand alone. Your story is not one of lack. It is one of strength, resilience, and divine design. The absence of friends is not the end of your worth. It is the beginning of your legacy. You are not waiting for life to start when people arrive. Life is happening now, and you are living proof that a woman with no friends can still walk with power, still shine with dignity, still rise with purpose, and still live with unstoppable grace. Because in the end, the woman with no friends is not a woman to pity. She is a woman to respect. She is the warrior who fought in silence, the diamond formed in darkness, the soul refined in solitude. And when she steps into her destiny, the world will finally see that she never needed a circle to complete her, because she was whole from the very beginning.